Let me start with something you already know. Even if you've never said it out loud, no great athlete just sets a goal and hopes it works out. They don't say, my goal is to win a championship and then figure it out as they go. They build lives, routines, and environments where winning becomes inevitable. And that same idea applies to your business, to your life. And today I want to talk to you about why most goal setting is a lie and what actually helps you compress 10 years of growth into one. Welcome to the Stretch Podcast. If you're new here, let me give you a little context, not to impress you or anything, but just so you know where I'm coming from. I grew up in a family business that my mom started back in 2001 called Innovative. What began as a small office equipment, office product, and furniture company has now grown into a $200 million company today, and I help lead business development there. Sports have always been a huge part of my life, and when I was a college student, I started the InSports Foundation. This was back in 2015, with the very simple idea that every kid deserves a chance to play. Since then, we've helped over 80,000 kids access sports through free camps and scholarships. So whether I'm talking about business, sports, or life, everything I share here comes from being inside real systems that either work or maybe they don't. And this show exists for one reason: to help you compress 10 years of growth into one. I've been doing a ton of research, listening to a ton of podcasts, reading a bunch of books, and we are really trying to help speed up some productivity here. In my last episode, I introduced the stretch framework, which was a way to force some growth instead of waiting for motivation. And today is a natural conversation into goal setting. And because before we dive too much into it, we might need to unlearn something that might slow you down, which is traditional goal setting. You know, there are a lot of people who they set a goal, they put it on the wall, but they take really no action to achieving that goal. So we're going to unpack here kind of the goal setting myth, because we've really all been told the same thing, that you set a clear goal, you visualize it. If you want it bad enough, it's going to happen. But here's what I've learned through watching athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders up close, is that goals alone don't change your behavior. Systems do. And the system is what you do on a daily basis to help you achieve that goal. I think there's something in the manifestation. I think there's something in making your goals known. But if you don't put that system in place, I think that's the first step. If you don't put that system in place, then you're just banking on luck. Michael Jordan, you all know Michael Jordan. He didn't become great because his goal was just to win championships. He became great because of how he practiced, how he competed every day, and how everything in his life revolved around him being the best basketball player he could possibly be. The championships that he won were a byproduct of everything he put in on a daily basis. So he didn't just chase a goal. He had a system to get better each and every day that led to that outcome. Warren Buffett once said, the difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything. Now, that's not a goal either. That is a filter. That is a system that protects his time, his energy, and focus. And so whether that's for sports or business, the highest performers remove bad options before they really become problems. But here's why goal setting feels good even when it doesn't work. Writing down your goal gives you a sense of self-control. It's a dopamine hit when you write that goal down. But control without a structure does not last. So if you're not changing your calendar, if you're not changing your environment, your daily behaviors, then nothing is going to change. You're going to feel stuck with a goal out there, and you're going to be doing nothing to get to that goal. it's a design issue. Tom Brady. When you think about Tom Brady, he didn't rely on motivation. He really relied on a routine. You hear a lot of stories about his preparation, his recovery, the nutrition, and just the attention to detail. And that's inevitability right there. He wasn't hoping to play well. He really built a system that he was going to win and do well by default because of his system. And when I say inevitable, I want to slow down here because that is kind of a tricky word. And this word is probably the most important word in the entire episode. Inevitable means the outcome doesn't depend on how you feel. It happens when you're tired. It happens when life is busy. It happens when motivation is gone. When something is inevitable, not getting the result would actually take more effort than getting it. Means it's going to happen. That's what great athletes build. That's what great businesses build. And that's what you can build too, is a system that makes it inevitable that you are going to achieve your goals. You don't ask elite athletes if they feel like training. That's already decided. That's inevitability. This is why inevitability matters so much if you want to compress 10 years of growth into just one. You don't speed things up by wanting it more. You speed things up by designing your life so success becomes the path of least resistance. And that is truly learnable. You can learn this skill. Elon Musk doesn't ask, what do I want to achieve? He asks, what is slowing it down? What assumption is wrong? What's the constraint? That's how timelines collapse. Elon, if the normal person just thought about Elon, they would think, oh, this man has so many far-fetched goals, but he is putting the systems in place to reach those goals. He is not just sticking it on the wall and hope that it comes just on looking at it every day. He is actually making things happen. So here's a better question, whether you are an athlete, whether you're a business owner, or whether you're just trying to grow. Instead of asking, what is my goal? Ask, what would make this inevitable? And I've got 4 systems here that you can apply to your life today. The first system is a calendar. The next is your environment. The third is decisions rule. And the last one is scoreboards. So let's look at the calendar. You train when it's scheduled. You put in the work when it's scheduled. The simplest truth I've learned that is if something matters, it lives on the calendar, not just in your head, not written down on a to-do list. It is on your calendar. If you look at elite athletes, they don't wake up and just decide to train. I'm going to train that day. They already know that it's trained. It's blocked off on their schedule. Their routine is set. So whether they feel like they're having a good day or not, they show up because it is on their schedule. You know, for business leaders, if growth matters, but you have no time scheduled to work on your growth, to work, to learn, to plan, to reflect, then is growth really a priority for you? Probably not. You need to block that time off in your calendar and actually do the things you need to grow. So once it's on the calendar, it stops being optional and you need to stick to your calendar. So the second system in place is your environment, and this can help you make the right choice easier. So here's an example. If an athlete wants to recover better, they don't just rely on discipline. They put healthy food in the fridge. How many times have you gone to the grocery store, bought these snacks, bought these desserts, put them in the fridge, put them in your cabinet, and every time you open your fridge, every time you open your cabinet, you are tempted to eat that food. I do it with chocolate. Oh my gosh. It's just like out of sight, out of mind. Don't put it in the fridge. Same thing with for your recovery. If you want to recover, you need to go to bed at the same time at night, wake up the same time in the morning, and that is going to help you with your recovery. And you want to surround yourselves with people who take that same approach to the recovery. If you're hanging out with people that want to go out all the time and they're pressuring you to do that, you're going to be tempted to not go to sleep at the right time, which isn't going to make you wake up at the right time. And so your recovery is going to lack. So the best athletes design their environment for their nutrition, for their recovery, for their workout schedule, because they are minimizing that temptation to do the wrong thing. Now, this one is just good for anybody, whether you're an athlete, whether you're in business, whether you're a student. If you are trying to focus on something and your phone is next to you and you see the notifications and you hear the notifications, you are not going to be able to focus very well. So you're not necessarily lacking discipline. It's really hard for anybody to ignore their phone going off. You are fighting the environment that you're in. If you have to keep stopping, pausing because your phone keeps going off, your watch keeps going off, you are not going to be able to get the thing done that you need to get done to get 1% better every day. That is your environment. That is on you. You can put your phone away. You can turn it off, put it away, say, I am not going to move from this spot until I get that thing done. And that's what high performers do. They don't fight temptation. They set that environment up. They remove distractions so they can get the things done that they need to get done. Third system, decisions rule. Decide something once. This one thing alone can save you years. Most people burn energy on the same decision over and over and over again. Should I work out today? Should I post content today? Should I follow up? Athletes, they don't debate whether or not to go to practice. The decision was made. They committed to this team, to this training, to this workout program. These are the times that we train. These are the days that I lift. This is how I recover. It is already set. When you pre-decide your rules, you stop negotiating with yourself whether you're going to do it or not. You decide, I'm going to do this. So for me, I decided once I went to work out at a place called Discover Strength, their philosophy is 2 workouts a day, not a day. That would be, I wouldn't commit to that. 2 workouts a week, and it's 30 minutes. And I have committed. I have time blocks on my schedule. Monday mornings, Friday mornings, I'm going there and I'm getting my workout in. That is decided. So it's not me waking up in the morning saying, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. I have decided to go. That decision-making process will turn discipline into autopilot. You will just do it. The last system is scoreboards. You want, and this really speaks to me because this is really hard to not think about the results, but you want to track your reps, not your trophies. And a lot of people get discouraged by this. They are tracking their outcomes. They're tracking wins. They're tracking revenue. They're tracking recognition. When you can't control that. If you're on a hockey team, you can't control if your team wins or loses. You can do small things to make an impact on that outcome, but that outcome is entirely up to the team as a whole. If you're at a company, large or small, you alone can't predict, can't control what that revenue is going to be at the end of the year. You can put a lot of small things into creating a better outcome, but you can't control that. So just tracking wins, revenue alone, you're going to get discouraged. So what do you do instead? You track your reps. You track the things that you want to do on a daily basis to get to that revenue goal, to get to more wins. You're not obsessing over the championship. You're obsessing over practice, effort, execution, consistency. If you're in business and you're building something, you can't control those outcomes. All you can control are the inputs. So having a scoreboard, you can actually focus on what moves the needle. What are those daily things that you can do to get better every day? You can control that. So what? I mean, if you're in sales, and there's a lot of different types of sales out there. There's more transactional, there's more relationship building. But if I'm going to set a business development day, I'm going to say I need to make contact, let's say with 50 people. Maybe 40 of those people I never hear from, but 10 of them respond in some certain way. If I only reached out to 20 people, maybe only 3 people would have responded. So the more people I reach out to, my outcome should be greater if I'm doing it right. You got to have the quality too. So when you can put these 4 systems into place, controlling your calendar, controlling your environment, making that decision, and having the right scoreboard, tracking the right things, success will stop being something that you hope for, and it'll become something that you expect. And that is inevitability. That's how timelines will collapse. You don't get there by wanting it more. You get there by designing your life so that progress happens even on hard days. And if athletes can do this, if businesses can do this, I've seen this work in sports. I've seen this work in business. I've seen it work in life. You don't need to be motivated any more than you already are. You just need a system and the belief that you are capable of more than you've been taught. You can do it. You can set this up. So if you think that this episode has connected some dots for you, I'm glad. You're not behind. You're just ready for a better model. Thanks for listening to Stretch. Together, we're going to compress 10 years of learning to help us grow into 1 year. 10 years into 1. It's going to be great. Appreciate you listening. We'll see you in the next episode.